Harrell Holmes portrays Melvin Franklin, one of the founding members of the Temptations. His nickname was Blue. I'm wearing blue for this interview. I'm such a big fan and so excited for this show to be coming. It's already here in Chicagoland. Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations, now through June 5th. Harrell, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, man, thank you so much for having me. I love the blue, by the way.
Of course, you got to represent for Melvin right there. But in your bio,
Absolutely.
you say you've wanted to be a Temptation since you were 8 years old. Talk a little bit about the impact that the band had on you at that age.
Well, at the age of 6, I saw the Temptations movie, and it was life-changing. From the suits, the dancing, the music, of course. I just made it my lifelong dream, really, to become a Temptation. And I ended up starting my own group at the age of 8 in Michigan called the Little Temptations. And we dressed up in the suits and performed all throughout the state. And yeah, it's been crazy. This has been a dream come true for me.
I hope some of those videos are still around and you end up posting them on social media at some point.
Oh yes, absolutely. Absolutely. They're coming.
Let's talk a little bit about the Temptations. Obviously, generations of families have grown up with the music, but not everybody knows what happens behind the scenes or with all the members or just how the group got started. Tell us a little bit about what we're going to see in the show.
You're going to see everything from the Temptations beginning, from them coming up from the South and all meeting in Detroit. Otis and Melvin went to school together, so you'll see how they met. And then eventually how Otis ended up meeting Paul and Eddie and David and really formed this super group in Detroit. And you'll get a chance to see, the struggles that they went through and them finally getting the big hits and how everything just came fast. Once they got that hit with The Way You Do the Things You Do and My Girl, it was just a fast track that they were on. And then unfortunately, you get a chance to see the drugs and different things they went through as far as that, and ultimately led to them unfortunately passing with only Otis as the last living member.
As the last surviving member. But as far as the good times and the lasting impact they had for this music, I mean, let's go ahead and just talk about some of those songs. I mean, they've been so much. Let's start with My Girl, because not only is it one of those songs that has such an amazing beat, but it at weddings.
Absolutely.
It's such an iconic song. When people start dating, it becomes, a song for them. People may have a memory of their family playing it at backyard parties. Talk a little bit when that song comes on. What's it like to look out at the audience?
Oh, man, it's amazing. I believe it was rated the #1 most popular song ever, I believe. So it's, when it's so iconic from the first bass notes, dum, 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 everyone knows, like, oh, this is My Girl. And it's like a concert, man. You can just hear the crowd, feel the crowd. They love it. And like you said, it spans across generations. It's 60 plus years old. And yet, people that are 20, in their teens, from people who are 80, 60, 70 years old, they know it, so it's incredible. And everyone has said, from weddings to first dances, or it serves as a special memory for everyone. Yeah.
Getting Melvin's voice. Let's talk a little bit about the process that you had to try to knock that out, and what you were trying to do especially for the show.
Yeah, well, there was a thing called puberty that hit me. My voice used to be a lot higher, and I would say around 14 years old, I went to my mom. I was like, "Mom, what's going on? My voice is dropping," and it just kept dropping. And but it's a funny thing. I've always wanted to have a deep voice, and for the longest, I couldn't get one. And now here I am playing the most probably iconic deep voice in pop music. So it's incredible. But as far as channeling Melvin, I just did a lot of studying. I knew the entire Temptations catalog and show already, so it wasn't a whole lot I had to do. But yeah, I listened to a lot of live recordings, a lot of his interviews, just to try to pick up his cadence and how he spoke and things. And I think I do a good job of bringing that to life.
Let's talk a little bit about the rehearsal process for the show. Obviously, these songs are iconic and people know the words and people want to have their own, dance moves to them and their own twists on them. What was it like to get everybody in the room? Because you have your own special memories, but also everybody else in the cast does as well too. What was it like coming together?
Oh, it was incredible. So the show won the Tony for Best Choreography. So the dancing is off the charts. Sergio Trio is incredible. So We danced 8 hours a day for a month straight, learning this show. The show has over 30 songs. It's high energy, high intensity dancing. You know, the Temptations were known for their smooth moves, in which we do incorporate, but since it's Broadway, it has to be heightened a little bit. So when people come and see the show, they're definitely going to be surprised by the level of energy and the amount of dancing that we do.
And the splits.
It's a lot.
There's a lot of splits going on.
A lot of splits going on, a lot of tricks, mics being thrown in the air, all those great things. So they're gonna love it. They're gonna love it. But it was a tough process. It was definitely hard, but so much fun. I mean, to go into work and you're hearing My Girl and the way you do the things you do, Get Ready. Papa Was a Rolling Stone. You know, there were times where I had to pinch myself, like, this is my job. I get to hear this great music every day. It's incredible.
I mean, these are the songs that have never gone out of style. I mean, you everybody has a memory of them, whether it's listening on the radio, going to the theater, or a family party.
Absolutely.
Like, these songs just have become part of generations. I mean, are you seeing that, not just like dates and normal theater crowds, but are you seeing like people bringing their grandmas and their aunts and their uncles and the whole family coming to the show?
Absolutely. And there's people who maybe have never even gone to a Broadway show, but just because it's the Temptations, they're like, man, this music is so iconic. I have to see what it is, So I think that's the great thing about this show. It's incredible. The music itself you can't beat it. It's timeless.
And I'm sure there's plenty of messages you get, because like you just mentioned, there's probably people who were curious about the theater, wanted to go to a show, but never felt like one spoke to them. And this is, they get their stories, and maybe this might be a gateway show where they may go to other shows because of the representation that they're able to see on stage.
Exactly. And I think one of the biggest compliments I can get is from real Temptations fans. They know, like, Melvin's voice is very distinct, David, Eddie's, I mean, really all of them. But they really listen for that bass and make sure you're doing it right. So I've gotten a lot of messages saying that I represented Melvin really well. So that makes me super happy.
The show is in town through June 5th. It is called Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations. BroadwayInChicago.com is where you go ahead and get those tickets. Harrell, thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, man. Thank you so much, man. Thank you.